I've just done a video on fat loss. The one thing I want to take on from that, and I'm going to use the example that I did before, all right, this is what is leaving and this is what is coming into my body. Therefore, I must be in a fat loss because I am in a deficit. Now, most people then go and say, oh yeah, but then you hit that plateau and you put the weight back on. Now, yes, there's another video I might do in terms of, say, the impact of cortisol, for example. Again, it's a hormone that's called the stress hormone that can, through research, affect you in terms of your thinking that you are needing to eat, okay, and therefore, because of the fight and flight and it's keeping your hypertensions up, you might therefore eat and therefore put on weight because you're no longer in the deficit. However, that I'll come on to some other time. The other one which is this starvation mode. Assuming that your body now is suddenly eating itself, or to that extent, or storing fat because it's great panic. That only ever happens if you are severely malnourished, because the body isn't interested in terms of marathons. It just wants, the brain wants you to stay alive. Now, if it gets to such a critical state in terms of the amount of calories you're having, it will therefore at some point start to store fat to prevent the amount of energy being burnt. Okay, now that doesn't necessarily happen if you're in your deficit and that's what you are burning and that's what you're consuming. Okay, eventually that will become your norm, that will become your zero. All right, not that. So eventually, because your body, what's called thermogenic adaptation, your body has now adapted to what you've been doing in terms of consuming and burning off calories. So because it just gets to a point where it goes, well, hang on a minute, happy days. This is what they're eating, this is what they're burning, this, that, and the other. I don't need to burn as many calories as I need to before. So therefore, you're technically now, if that is what you're consuming and that is, say, what you're burning, then you're no longer in a deficit. You would need, if you were to want to lose those extra little bit of pounds, you would have to go down again into a deficit. So if that's what you're burning, you might need to, say, drop down to 1600. The point is, your body's not starving itself. It's just rechecking itself, regulating itself and going, right, that's what it was. This is what it's now. I don't need to burn as much as it was. And therefore you don't lose as much fat because you're no longer in a deficit. The starvation mode is absolute utter bullshit. It is bullshit. And I'm not one to always just rant and rave and go full Gordon Ramsay. It's rubbish because it can be quite wrong for people to be educated in the wrong manner, and that is one of the reasons why then people just think, oh, hit a plateau and then start eating again because they're ramping up the calories again, because they're no longer in the deficit that they thought they once were. So the starvation mode, not a zippo unless it's a severe medical condition.